Hello, everyone.
Hi, Mike.
It is very, very cool to see you guys. How are you guys liking the Fediverse House? It's so fun to have a chance to meet everybody in person that we've been connected to on the social web. So, and this is what it's all about, man. Live, real connections with really good people. And that's why we're building the social web, is to make this kind of stuff happen more. So it's great to have everyone here. I'm going to show you a new product that we've been working on. It's still very much a work in progress. It's in private beta. And we think of it as a browser for the social web. And it's not a browser in the traditional sense, the way you would think of a browser today, where you browse websites. You type in a URL or a search, and then you go to a website. It's a browser for the social web that browses feeds. So the entire social web is organized as a whole series of posts put into all these different feeds. Now, that may initially sound like, wait a minute, isn't there just one feed, just my following feed, my timeline? There's so many more feeds that you can have access to on the social web. Life is bigger than just one feed, right? And so why have just one feed to rule them all? That is, you could certainly have a great feed that's your go-to feed, sort of your main timeline if you want. But what about a feed for like something that you love to do? A hobby you have, something that you just want to chill. You don't want to see any news. You just want to like chill and dive into connected content being recommended by really cool people who share the same passion you do for, let's say, woodworking or space, right? So what we want to do with Surf is help people make feeds around all the things that they're interested in on the social web. And so the first wave of Surf, we call it the Dawn Patrol beta, where people can go in and they can actually make these feeds. And now here's the cool thing. The way feeds are made on the social web they can be feeds that are based on ActivityPub, @Proto, or RSS. In many ways, and Evan, I think one of the things that's just so exciting to me about ActivityPub is I think of it as the big sister protocol to RSS. It is a two-way version of RSS, right? And so we have three amazing protocols that are underlying the social web. The question becomes, okay, well, how do I discover all the stuff that's out there? Do I have to use the Blue Sky app and I only see @Proto? I use Mastodon, I only see ActivityPub posts, and I use an RSS reader and I only see RSS feeds. What if you could have an app that just brought it all together seamlessly and you didn't have to think about it? You didn't have to think about, does someone post this on Blue Sky or on Mastodon or on Threads or on Flipboard or, as a blog? You just saw it because you were interested in that topic or that person. That's what Surf is designed to do, is kind of take a big step higher. Instead of thinking about like I'm going to use this app, this social media app here and this social media app there. I'm going to use an app to like take all the content and people that I love seeing and see them all in one place on the social web. So that's why we call it a social web browser. So with that, let me show you around. So, as I said, Surf is still in private beta. You can go to surf.social and you can sign up for Surf for the waitlist. It's a test flight, iOS test flight, and also beta on Google Play. It's available on both platforms. Oh, that's cool. I already got a message in here. So you can easily sign up. And if you use the referral code Fediverse House, I'll be sure we get you in. We're being pretty selective about how many people we let in because there's only 10,000 or so that we can let in on test flight. We want to have enough time to test with enough people as we start to get this fully in the App Store. So with all that said, let me give you a quick rundown on how Surf works. So first, I'm just going to show you around the app. So when you launch the app, you log in with one of your Fediverse accounts. So that could be a Mastodon account, or it could be a Blue Sky account. So you don't have to create a new account. don't have to go figure out new people to follow. You don't have to do any of that. You just take your existing Mastodon account or your existing Blue Sky account and you just log in. By the way, you can also log in with both. You can connect the accounts. So we have a new version of the beta that will be shipping later on this week, where you can actually link your Blue Sky and your Mastodon accounts together in Surf. And you can see here when I go to my settings, you can see my Mastodon account up there, Mike M at Flipboard.social, and my Blue Sky account, McCue at bsky.social. And I can go in and change these around if I want, and I can set, one account to be my primary account. So I'm just going to set my Blue Sky account at the moment as my default account. Now you can see my Blue Sky profile right here. If I tap on this is my Blue Sky profile. And you can see all the posts that I've been making, right? It looks like kind of a normal social media experience here that you would expect. Below my avatar, my profile, you see feeds that I've bookmarked. So just like a web browser, you bookmark your favorite websites, you can bookmark your favorite feeds. And I have some of my favorite feeds here. I'll take you through these in a sec. You can also make feeds. And making feeds might sound like a really hard thing to do. It's actually incredibly easy, and I'm going to show you how to do that here. You don't have to make a feed, but it's a really fun thing to do. I'll show you how that works in a second. Of course, I've connected my Mastodon account and my Blue Sky account, so there are already feeds that I use on both of those accounts, and you can see them right here. So how many of you use Blue Sky, for example? And do you use custom feeds? Have you pinned some custom feeds to your home? Okay, so you'll see all those here. Now, of course, I'm a power user, so I've got all sorts of Blue Sky custom feeds, right here. Is Paul here? I saw him earlier. Paul, what Blue Sky has done with custom feeds is really quite excellent. And so I can go in and look at any of those feeds, or I could just look at my normal timeline. So, for example, this is my Mastodon timeline. This is just my normal timeline I would see if I was in any other Mastodon client. These are all the people that I'm following on Mastodon. And I can go in and see it right here. And I can go in and engage, reply, like, repost. I can bookmark, all the usual things you would expect to be able to do in Mastodon. But also, let me show you what it's like to look at some Blue Sky custom feeds. So here's a really cool Blue Sky custom feed called Popular with Friends. Have you guys seen this? This is an algorithmic feed. And, we've been talking a little bit about algorithmic feeds and how problematic they are. And they are very problematic when you have no choice. If you're a user and the algorithm is being forced on you for profit, right, for retention, for reasons that are more for the company than for you, that's bad. But algorithms themselves are not bad, and they're quite powerful. When you only rely on your following timeline, you're going to miss a lot of posts from a lot of people that you care about, especially if you follow a lot of people, right? So what Blue Sky has done is they've created algorithmic choice. So I can decide, I want to see posts from people I follow and posts that the people I follow have liked. Okay, I'm going to opt into that algorithm because that's just going to give me a little bit more signal to noise ratio in my feed. So I'm going to open that feed up, which again, I can just do right here on Surf. And here it is. This is my custom feed. So you can see Jay's posting here. She's about to speak. I can go in and say, that's really cool. I'm going to repost this. I can look at the conversation. I can reply. She's going to see it. Now, what's really neat about this, if I'm in my Mastodon feed or if in my Blue Sky feed, I can just reply and like I normally would. I don't have to think about it. It just works, right? And it like email. When you have multiple accounts in your email app, and you get an email that you sent from one account or came to another account, and you just reply and it just works. This is the same thing. And so this is really cool, right? I can get access to my feeds that I have in Blue Sky. But also, people are making feeds on Surf. With Blue Sky, you got to have a little bit more, it's a little harder to do, a little bit more engineering background to make a feed. With Surf, anyone can make a feed. And so here, for example, are feeds that other people have made. And you can see all these great feeds. Here's one I made called Tech Talk. This is, for example, all the people I love to follow in tech. They're on Threads. they're on Blue Sky, they're on Mastodon, they're on Flipboard, there are RSS feeds, there's podcasts, there's YouTube channels. They're all in this one feed. It's awesome. I'll show you around a little bit. Here's a feed just about Yu-Gi-Oh! How many of you guys know the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game? My son loves to play that game, or loved to anyway. Here are feeds that are being shared by other people. They've made them and now they've shared them out on Mastodon or Blue Sky, and they show up here. If you share a feed on Surf with hashtag Surf Feeds, it'll show up in here. And so here's a feed someone made for the Fediverse House, right? So let's go check that out. You can look at, when you go into a Surf feed, again, looks just like any other feed you go into, but there are different ways to look at the feed. So for example, here's the Fediverse House feed, right? We have a post here from We Distribute that was actually on Flipboard. So this post was made on Flipboard, you can see. I can like that, and now We Distribute, which has an account on Flipboard and posted on Flipboard, they're going to get that like in their notifications on Flipboard. And I can boost it as well, which I just did now to my in this case, my Mastodon account, since it's showing up on ActivityPub. Oh, look at that. We got like an actual photo real time. How cool is this? How cool is that? Okay, I'm going to definitely need to boost that. Where's Jeff? Jeff. There you go, Jeff. By the way, I've loved your posts, man, all through the last day. You're like, thank you. This is so cool. And I can go and reply here and say, love this. Thank you. And I can add photos and video to this and so on, just like you would expect. And then Jeff's going to get that reply. But again, what's cool is I didn't have to tell. I don't know if Jeff posted this on Mastodon, but maybe he posted it on Blue Sky. I'd still see it. And so that's very, very cool. Now, oh, and Evan reposted this, right? This talk. Wow, what's a beautiful photo. Hero took that photo. That is really, really nice. So now let's look at the sources for this feed. Okay, we get a little bit of a sense for how these feeds are made. So if we go to the sources tab, every feed has these different modalities, right? And one of the tabs is sources. And what that lets you do is see all of the different feeds that come together to make this feed. Does that make sense? It's a little meta. But basically, you can take any feed in the Fediverse and make that a source for this feed. So for example, we have hashtag Fediverse House 25. We have a Flipboard magazine that's a source. Evan Prodromo, his account is a source. Peter Cottle's account is a source, right? And so like, for example, if I tap on Evan here, this is Evan at cosocial.ca, right? And here he is. And here's his posts, right? And if I wasn't following Evan, I could just follow him right here, right? And it would follow Evan. It would do exactly the right thing, exactly as we would expect. It's going to follow him on my Mastodon account because that's a Mastodon account. So you can get a sense for how the feed is constructed. So in this one feed, right, somebody, and who did this, by the way? Matt, are you in the audience? Somebody made this feed. It's already in 10 other feeds. So on Surf, someone found this feed and they put it in 10 of other feeds, right, out there. Eventually you'll be able to tap and see those feeds. But now you're starting to get a bit of a sense of like discovery and how big of a deal this is for discovery, right? Because a lot of times we don't know why we see something on social media. How did this even get to me, right? Sometimes you want to like know because you want to stop it. Or sometimes you want to know because you want more of it, right? And this is the secret to discovery. On the social web, and this is one of the things that is most exciting to me, is that on the social web, what is rewarded and what is happening is that people, trusted, thoughtful, interesting people, are sharing content and sources with other people. And the more we make that signal the center of everything that we're doing in our experience, the less we're going to see AI slop, because someone you trust isn't going to share AI slop, right? The less we're going to see toxicity, because someone that you trust isn't going to be toxic, right? And you're not going to see all that other stuff. So that's what's so exciting about this. Now, that's the Fediverse House feed. Let me show you a couple more feeds, and then we're going to make a couple of our own, all right? So one of the feeds that I absolutely love is called NBA Threads. Now, NBA Threads, is Peter still here? Peter Cottle has done some phenomenal work, as you guys have been able to tell, on Threads. Meta and, to a certain extent, Threads gets a lot of flack, and deservedly so in a lot of cases, especially with some of their moderation changes. But I gotta say, also at the same time, Peter and the Threads team have done an amazing job at embracing the Fediverse. And that's a good thing. And there's some phenomenal people. There are NBA players on Threads. And they're not on Blue Sky, and they're not on Mastodon. But because they're federated, you can see them in the Fediverse. And this is a good thing, because most people want to be able to just follow an NBA player and not have to worry about, am I on the right social network to do that? So NBA Threads started out as a hashtag on Threads. But because, and basically the whole point of it is when you're watching a game, people are live posting on Threads about what's going on in the game, right? But then, because of some moderation challenges and other things, a bunch of people got unhappy about how things were going on Threads, and they left, and they went to Blue Sky. And so the community that was once all together on Threads divided, and half of it went to Blue Sky, and half of it stayed on Threads. Some people even went over to Mastodon, and it got divided. And so what Surf can do is now, because I'm logged in with my Mastodon account and my Blue Sky account, I see the entire community together again. We've now able to unify the hashtag. You have a universal hashtag of NBA Threads, and believe it or not, people on Blue Sky are posting with hashtag NBA Threads, which is kind of wild. And you can see the entire hashtag for no matter where people are posting. At the bottom of Surf, this will look kind of like a browser to you, because at the bottom, there's like a URL bar. You can type any Fediverse address into here, or you can type in a search. So I can type, for example, hashtag NBA Threads, and tap that. And now, as I scroll through this, and I'm gonna go into the Discuss tab here. As I scroll through this, you're gonna see posts that are on Blue Sky, posts that are on Threads, posts that are on Mastodon, all with that same hashtag. Isn't that cool? It's a universal hashtag working on the social web. And the guy who started this community, his name is David Rushing, and he goes by Yo Rush. And so he took Surf and he took this hashtag and he made an even better feed called NBA Threads. And I'll show that to you here. I bookmarked it. And check this feed out. It's got 32 sources. So it has NBA Threads. Turns out people started to use NBA Sky, right? So he added that hashtag in as well. Go look at the sources. You can add searches as a source. So a search is just another feed on the social web. So he's added, specific searches in here as well. He's added podcasts. He's added NBA YouTube channels. He's added newsletters and blogs for the NBA. So that way, when the game isn't on anymore and you're just kind of like getting psyched for the next game, you can come into NBA Threads and you can see all the great content that's coming together, the pre-game stuff, the post-game from the night before, all that. You can, and so here you see that feed rendered as like a normal Discuss tab here. We call it Discuss. So this is like your normal sort of social media view. But here's where it gets super cool. Any feed on Surf, you can surf in different modalities. So this is the standard one that you would expect, but I can also go into Watch. And what this does is it takes all the videos in this feed and just serves them up like it was TikTok for the NBA. This is freaking awesome. Now, this video might be on YouTube. It might, which like this is the case here. It may have been shared on Blue Sky. It may have been shared on Mastodon or on Threads. I don't have to care as a user. I just watch the videos. And if I want to share those videos, like these are RSS videos right now, I can hit post and I can share those to my Blue Sky account or my Mastodon account or both. So now we're taking RSS content that I'm discovering because Yo Rush decided to share it, and we're letting people discover it here and then post it out on the social web. Now he also added podcasts. I mentioned, so you can go into Listen, a whole other modality, and these are all the podcasts in the NBA Threads feed. So this is like NBA Central. And this was like, David was able to pull this together in a very, like just a matter of like a few minutes, just his favorite sources, he put them together, and now he has a feed. Here's where it's also super cool. Behind the scenes, he's also moderating this feed. So he's basically, when there are gambling companies that try to take over the NBA Threads hashtag, this happens fairly often. He's able to say, to exclude. He can exclude entire domains. He can exclude entire topics. He can exclude keywords. He can exclude specific users. So surf feeds become an amazing combination of what you include and what you exclude. And then he can share that feed, if he wants, with other people. And they can benefit from it. And if they maybe have a different spin on the NBA, they can take his feed, make it a source to their feed, and then they can add some other sources. So it's basically, feeds become building blocks of discovery and building blocks of community. So let's make a feed. We're going to make 2 feeds. So the first feed we're going to make is a home timeline. When I talk to people about how they use social media, I hear typically sort of 3 things that they use it for. There's others, but the things I hear most often is, first, they just want to catch up with their favorite people, regardless of what platform they're using to post on. Some people post on multiple platforms. Some people bounce around between different platforms. They don't want to have to think about that. The second thing that people tell me is they want to catch up on the news, but only when they want to catch up on the news, right? So when they're ready, get a stiff drink, turn on the news, and, deal with it, and then turn it off. The other thing I hear is that people wistfully remember the early days of RSS readers, and back when you could pick your favorite newsletters or your favorite YouTube channels and put them together into a feed that was just for you, just to chillax with, right? A woodworking feed, right? With all your favorite woodworkers or sailors or backpackers, right? So those are some reasons why you'd want to make a feed. It's to pick your favorite sources, pick your favorite people. But let's start with a home timeline. Let's start with connecting with the people I care about. So in the new beta, which will come out later this week, there's this really cool new feature called Set Up Your Timeline. It's almost like a feed building wizard. And I'm going to tap that. And when I do, you can see right out of the gate, I get some choices for sources. I can add my Mastodon following timeline. So everyone I'm following on Mastodon, which includes federated threads accounts, all that I can see here. And I'm going to add my Blue Sky timeline. So now I'm going to see everyone I'm following on Blue Sky and Mastodon in this feed. Let's go a step further though. One of the things, custom feeds that I really like on Blue Sky is called Discourse. So this is the most commented threads, the biggest sort of hottest threads and conversations that are happening on Blue Sky. I'm going to add that. There's also a science feed. Science is a really cool feed made up of scientists. You actually have to be, approved by another scientist to be able to post into this feed. It's an amazing community. So I'm going to add that. And I think that's good for now. So I can always add more sources later. Now I'm going to hit next. Okay, now check this out. I've talked to a lot of people who use social media and they don't want to see news. Some people really use it for news, but some people are like, I do not want to see news. And they specifically followed people and didn't follow others so that they wouldn't see news, right? But no matter what happens, like there's always going to be someone that you follow who ultimately inadvertently posts something about the news, and you're going to see it in your home timeline. Wouldn't it be cool if you could prevent that? With Surf, you can. With Surf, you have choice. So what we're going to do here is we're going to exclude posts about Elon Musk. This is actually a feature request that I've gotten from like a number of people. And so we're going to say, you know what, I just don't want to hear about Elon. And then I'm going to hit done. And now it's going to make a home timeline with everyone I follow on Blue Sky and Mastodon, the best conversations happening on Blue Sky, and no Elon Musk. How cool is that? So now I have it. Here's my feed. Now I will say, caveat, we're still working on the Elon Musk Twitter. It's not perfect. Our filter, it's not perfect. Elon is like so insanely integrated into basically everything right now. It's really, really hard to tune him out. But we will. And every day that goes by, we're going to find all those little edge cases and catch them and stop it. If you turn on that filter, you will not see anything about Elon. It'll be like as he didn't exist. So here's my feed. And again, this has become my home timeline. If I want to, by the way, today Surf, it opens up in your home page like a browser. I can decide to open up in this feed if I want to. So go right in, and it kind of feels like my normal sort of social media experience, but I'm curating it. I'm the one in control. And again, just like everything else, I can choose different ways to look at my timeline. So instead of looking at it this way, which I can do, and I can interact with folks. I don't have to worry about, are they on Blue Sky? Are they on Flipboard? Are they on Threads? It just works. But here's what's really cool. I can go into Read, and the Read tab, what it does is it sort of inverts your timeline. So it shows you all the articles that people are posting, right? And so these are the articles that people are posting, and you can see what they're saying about that article. So it's sort of like article forward, right? And you can scroll through this and engage and discover articles that you wouldn't have otherwise seen. And what's kind of cool is every now and then someone will share the same article, and so you can go in and see. Well, in this case, this person shared it twice. But sometimes people will share the same article, and you can see all the times that they shared it. If you're familiar with Tech Meme, it's sort of like that. And you can see what they said about that article. And they might have different conversation threads, and you can participate in that. So and we try to surface the best articles out of your timeline and help you see those. I can also go in and I can watch my home timeline. So these are all the videos that people that I follow are posting on Blue Sky. Here we go. We got Blue Sky. We've got the Bulwark, which is a fantastic YouTube channel. They're all in here. Now there are YouTube ads, unfortunately, so you will see those. We are going to set it up so that you can log in with your YouTube account at some point. So if you pay to not see ads, you won't see those. But it's important to have those YouTube ads because the creators are actually making revenue and making a living on that, on YouTube. So we want to make sure we honor that. So we're not trying to strip out ads from creators' channels. So that's a home timeline. How cool is that, right? Isn't that amazing? Now, let me show you another example. And this is a tech feed that I've made. And you can see if I expand it, you can kind of expand and collapse things in home. And you can see this tech feed is made up of tech podcasts, great journalists who are not in tech writers and journalists, Guardians of the Fediverse, which is a feed that Tim Chambers made of all the great people building in the Fediverse, and then Pluralistic, Cory Doctorow, who I'm going to be interviewing later on today at 3. Now, what's kind of cool is, and when I go into this feed, I'm going to see, again, a mix of all those different sources. But this feed has a very special setting on it. It's a filter. Before, I showed you a filter where you could exclude a topic, like Elon Musk. Here, you can also say, I want to keep this feed on topic. And I want it basically to be on topic about technology. So now, what that means is, when I look at posts from journalists, if they're posting about tech, I'll see it. If they're posting about politics, I won't see it. And that means I can also go to, let's say, my Mastodon timeline, and I can add that as a source. So anytime you're looking at a feed, you can add it as a source to another feed. So I'm going to add this to my tech briefing. And now, my tech feed is now made up of all the posts from the people I follow on Mastodon, as well as tech journalists, non-tech journalists, Guardians of the Fediverse, and it's all filtered by tech. So this becomes like my go-to tech feed. So when you want to get like dialed in on like what people are saying about tech, you can pick your favorite people, your favorite sources, put them all together in one place, put a filter on it so you're guaranteed to see their tech posts, and you can use this. What's really neat is not everyone will do this, but I can share this tech feed with other people, and they can benefit from the curation that I've done here. Let's build a feed together. So, and then we'll take some questions. So what I want to show you now is what it's like to just build a custom feed from scratch. What's something that you guys are interested? Let's pick something fun and like to relax to, or something, a hobby maybe you have. What's a feed that you guys would be interested in building?
Bob Ross.
I'm sorry, what? Which?
Dragon Ball. Bob Ross.
Bob Ross. Is that the painter?
Yeah.
All right, that's very chill. That's very chill. All right, and what was the other one?
Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball. I don't even know what that is.
It's an anime.
It's an anime. Wow. All right. Well, okay. Well, let's start with Bob Ross. Let's give it a shot. All right, because at least I know who that is. So I'm going to start with a search. So I'm sorry. I'm going to tap create a custom feed. Now I'm going to give it a name. I can just say Bob Ross, or we can be more creative if I'm going to share this with other people.
Dragon Ball.
Bob. There'll be exactly 0 posts on that. Bob Ross awesomeness, okay? Or let's say Bob Ross to chill by, all right? And I suspect this is going to be mostly a video feed. One of the neat things about Surf is you can set the default viewing experience, the default tab. So if it's a podcast feed, primarily you can set it to listen. So when you open the feed, you're always going to see podcasts. But let's just once you build a feed, you say, all right, well, we've got our feed. Let's do a search, and we'll search for Bob Ross. I have no idea what's going to happen here, man. So now I could have posts matching Bob Ross. Let's go ahead and do that. So you hit the star. Now any post out on the social web, and remember that's like ActivityPub, AppProto, and RSS mentioning Bob Ross is going to show up in this feed. Maybe that'll be good, maybe it won't. We can always dial it in later. There are some profiles. Bob Ross, I don't think that's the one we're thinking of. But look at this. There's space art, a custom feed on Blue Sky, space artists and telescope operators. I'm not sure why that's showing up. A black Bob Ross, that's wild, okay. We have Bob Ross Blue Sky custom feed. Let's look at that. So I can tap on it. All right, this was made by Salty Dog Fella. I don't know what this is. Yeah, here we go, Bob Ross. Okay, and by the way, I can go into the Look tab, and here we go. We got some Bob Ross. Goodness, well, spoke a little too fast. So maybe I won't add that one. But let's go on YouTube. That's probably where we're going to see some stuff. Bob Ross, the Bob Ross Challenge. Painting along with Bob, the joy of painting in real time. So I'm going to hit star. I'm going to add that to my Bob Ross to chill by feed. All right, and let's see if there's any podcasts. Who knows? The Joy of Bob Ross, a happy little podcast. Let's put that in there. All right, office hours with Bob Ross. No, we won't do that. Okay, but you guys get the idea, right? I can search across the whole social web, and there's tons of different sources that I can add to this feed. And so I've just added a couple sources here to my Bob Ross to chill by feed. And let's just go take a look and see what it looks like. And let's put it in video mode. Now, let's see. Here we go.
Today I'm going to try to do a Bob Ross tutorial with acrylic paints.
Pretty cool. And let's check out the next one here. Not bad. All right. This is looking good, right? So here we go, Sean. We got your Bob Ross feed, man. And
your feet, and I'm making Bob Ross X Dragon Ball.
Well, oh my God. Now again, I don't have to care where this content is coming from. I can like it. I can boost it. If it's a Blue Sky thing, it's going to boost it to my Blue Sky account. I can comment on it. I can say, wow, this is really an amazing account. Let me follow this. And now I'm going to be following them on Blue Sky. Isn't that amazing? It's your social media, your way. You're in control. And if you don't have a lot of time to put into dialing all these knobs and dials, guess what? Someone else is making that feed you love, probably already. And you can go find it, and you can benefit from all the energy they put into it, and you can even tweak it and include it in your feed. and they'll get the notice that you put it in their feed, and they'll get the benefit of like knowing that like, hey man, when I curate more Bob Ross stuff, other people who love Bob Ross, they're going to get the benefit of that too. I'm not just helping myself, I'm helping other Bob Ross fans. Isn't that amazing? And other Bob Ross fans, how many of you have had the experience where you hear about a podcast that you never even heard of before? You're like, how did I not know about that thing, right? But someone told you about it. Isn't that a great service when someone tells you about a great piece of content and you can just then start benefiting from that creator's work? That's the power of the social web. We want to enable that to happen all the time, and we want to reward people for it. That's the behavior that gets rewards on Surf. Not the most likes, not the most, crazy amount of engagement. It's about people helping other people find the best stuff on the social web. So that's what Surf is all about. There's a lot more to show you, and I know we're kind of at time here. Maybe just I'll take a few questions. First of all, what do you guys think of this? Questions? Yes.
Oh, thank you. First of all, this is awesome. Do I just need to speak louder? First of all, I think it's great. Thank you. I'm curious, how are you handling cross-posting? So like I'm posting to Threads, Blue Sky, and Mastodon.
Yeah.
Would my post show up 3 times in somebody's feed right now?
That is an excellent question. And so one of the things we'll be doing, and this isn't totally dialed in yet, but we will dial it in, is when someone does cross-post, you'll see the post once, and then you'll see 2 other posts, and you can tap that 2 other posts, and it'll expand. And then you can see maybe there's like 3 threads that have happened on each of those posts. So you can decide to go into each of those, and you can boost or comment or like on each of those as you want. On the other end of the spectrum, I can go here down the lower right. There's always an ability to compose and post to an account. Now, my primary account at the moment I set to Blue Sky. If my primary account was Mastodon, it would be Mastodon. And here I can go in and I can post. Now, we don't yet have cross-posting working here on Surf, but we plan to do that. So if you want to cross-post, you'll be able to do that also. Yeah. Sean?
Question for you, Mike. One interesting thing I've seen that you guys have experimented with is that a couple of your feeds created within Surf are visible from within Blue Sky's own custom feeds. And
Yes.
I know you were experimenting with that. Do you anticipate or do you plan on having that feature being available to users where they create a feed within Surf and then Blue Sky users can also consume that?
I'm so glad you asked that. And Evan, where's Evan? Is he still here? Well, he's probably at the Jay Graber talk. When I first showed this to Evan, he asked me exactly the same question. In fact, more broadly, anything that I make on Surf will be federated to the social web. So now that's a little bit tricky because Blue Sky will I can take this post or these feeds, and as Sean alluded to, we've been experimenting with publishing the feed or federating the feed to Blue Sky. So my Chill Bob Ross feed, I could actually publish that as a custom Blue Sky feed that anyone on Blue Sky could look at and pin to their home. The only sort of little asterisk to that is it'll only show you posts that are on Blue Sky, right? So you won't see the RSS stuff. You won't see the YouTube stuff. You'll only see Blue Sky stuff, right? You can do the same thing also on Mastodon or on Threads, but then again, you'll only see the ActivityPub stuff, right? So yes, we do plan to do that. And if there are other apps out there that, actually bring both of these worlds together, then you will be able to see it all. So our goal is to set it up so that there's no entrapment here. If you make a custom feed, we want you to be able to export that feed as an OPML file. We want you to be able to publish that feed to Blue Sky. We want to be able to let you federate that feed out on ActivityPub and Mastodon, similar to how we've done it with Flipboard magazines, if you're familiar with that. Does that answer your question, Sean?
Yeah. And I also know that as a side product, for lack of a better term, to Flipboard, do you plan on kind of tying things back to your Flipboard?
Yes. So in a lot of ways, Surf started off life as like the next gen Flipboard, But I've had people literally come up to me in airports and say, "Mike, are you Mike McCue?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Oh, thank you for not changing Flipboard." People hate it when they love an app and then Someone then decides, we're just going to have a new design, and they change everything and move everything around on people. Users hate that. When we wanted to build the next gen Flipboard, we've learned a lot of lessons over 15 years. And we had a lot of ideas, and we wanted to really have a blank slate. But then especially we wanted to build from the ground up on the social web. So we wanted to build a completely new app built on a modern tech stack from the ground up with a completely new design. But Flipboard and Surf work with the same ecosystem. So Flipboard, if you're a user of Flipboard, what you've started to see is there are more people you can follow. You can follow Barack Obama, who posts on Threads. You can follow him on Flipboard. You can follow AOC, who posts on Blue Sky. So what we did with Flipboard is we integrated the entire social web. We integrated ActivityPub and Blue Sky, and we're already integrated with RSS. And so it's already, Flipboard is like a sort of the OG view of the social web. And Surf is like the new generation view of the social web. They both work hand in hand. And then one of the things we pioneered with Flipboard was the ability to curate magazines, small feeds where every post is hand curated. You'll see us do more of that in Surf and more broadly on the social web as well. So if you have magazines on Flipboard, you'll be able to post into those magazines from Surf seamlessly. Lily.
If I wanted to make the feed, can I do it like a private feed and a public?
That is such a good question. Yes, and right now, every feed that you make on Surf, except for your home timeline, is public. So be aware of that. But we are soon going to change that. So by default, every feed is private. And then you'll be able to, once you've got your feed dialed in and you want to share it, you'll be able to publish it and make it public. So there'll be the option to do either one. Good question. Katie.
What is the difference between a timeline and
Oh, well, that is another great question. The difference between a timeline and a feed. See, this is what happens when I'm doing too much tech speak. There really is no difference, is the answer. When I use the word timeline, I'm kind of referring to like my following feed, the people I follow, not just like all the different YouTube channels I love. But in Surf, it's all just a feed. Everything you see on Surf, literally everything, is a feed. And that feed can be bookmarked, it can be added to another feed, it can be shared, it can be public or private. It's your call. Yes?
How much of this processing is happening on device versus on, Flipboard or Surf servers?
Great question also. It's a mix. So there is a significant amount of back-end work that's being done leveraging the Flipboard ecosystem that we've built over the Flipboard back-end we built over the last 15 years or so. So search is a big part of what we do there. Machine learning-based topic analysis, so we can say this is an article that is about Elon Musk or not about Elon Musk, or this is a thing about Bob Ross. All of that work is done on the back end. The front end is what is doing all the rendering, all the showing you all the videos, the podcasts, etc. And so, and one of the things that is really important we're trying to do as a company is set the right tone for how do you do search on the social web. How do you do machine learning on the social web in a way that doesn't impact or violate users' privacies, in a way that sort of upholds the values of the Fediverse, right? Algorithms in and of themselves aren't bad, but algorithms used badly are bad, right? That are used to control other people are bad. So one of the things we've really tried to do is give people the choice to be able to use all of the algorithmic horsepower that we've built over the years, but only if they want to, and only in select ways that they get to define. Sean?
Sorry to put you on the spot, but I kind of have to ask, given that you're sort of building a new type of product, a social browser, so to speak, given the nature of web browsers and sort of their relationship with the open source community, is there, and you don't have to have a definitive answer today, but is there some kind of plan down the road to make Surf open source?
That's a good question. And to be honest with you, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. And the reason why is because we have so much source over the years that we built without sort of thinking about it being an open source thing. And for us to do that would be a very big lift that would distract us from all the other features that people want. So I don't see that happening right now. But if we got enough demand from the community and they were like, look, we really, really want this to be open source, we would certainly consider it. But it would be a big trade-off because we have a small team and it would be a lot of work to do that. Other questions? Oh yeah, last question.
Yeah, sure. Forgive me if you explained this already, but does this natively support AppProto and ActivityPub?
Yes, it natively supports ActivityPub and AppProto. It also natively supports both of the API sets from the By the way, the Mastodon API is one of the greatest contributions to the social web. I want to highlight that like the APIs are also super important, not just the protocols. And we leverage a combination of both because there's certain things you can do really well from a protocol point of view and some that you can do really well from an API point of view. And we've kind of figured out a way to balance those so you get the best of both. But it's totally native. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for being part of the Surf demo.